All right, let's try this again. It's Thursday, November 18th, 1:53 p.m. and I'm walking the path outside the Pueblo, I forget what the heck it's called, Pueblo Grande Museum? The ball court, Hohokam activity area. I'm going to assume that was recreated. Interesting. Stay on the trail. Want anybody going down there and having fun in there like the pictures of the ancient Hohokam people were doing. Oh, this plaque is so faded from the sun, so damaged from the sun. Ball courts were significant features within the large ingrained cultural system of the Hohokam and were in use between 750 and 1200 AD. Research suggests ball courts served as public arenas for specialized activities that may have involved religious gatherings, exchange of commodities, such as pottery and possibly ball games. Interesting. All right. Keep on walking. This path is all kinds of interesting. Had two awkward moments between the time my phone, by the way, my phone, I'm shooting this on the on the Samsung Galaxy Note 5. And as I mentioned earlier, there was a real delay in me getting my videos uploaded due to a 33-minute video that was 4 gigs in size, and I just could not for the life of me get it from this phone to my iPhone to get it uploaded. And yeah, based upon the recent reviews left for Google Drive on the Google Play Store. Oh, this is neat. This cutaway entry ramp allows for all. The Hohokam entered the homes through the low courtyard facing entry. So this entry would not have been part of I guess this would have been a Hohokam residential dwelling. Interesting. This is neat. It's oddly cool in here for as warm as it is outside. I recognize those. Those were used for grinding corn. Actually used some of those before. Wicker baskets, rope. And that would have been the entryway, but it's closed. I love small entryways you gotta crawl through. Oh, that's fascinating. I wonder what that was used for. Huh. Anyway, as I was saying, I would imagine these are recreated and are probably made of cement as opposed to actual adobe. Neat. Pretty cool stuff. Now anyway, so apparently they're having all kinds of server issues. Couldn't get that dang thing to upload, and I had some other ones that I was trying to upload. Home in the Desert, AD 950, Hohokam pit house replicas. The earliest homes of Pueblo Grande or Grande, whatever you want to pronounce it, called pit houses, date to AD 450. Built in shallow pits, their wood framework was covered with adobe mud. The Hohokam arranged these one-room homes around shared courtyards. Pit houses would have been dark. The courtyard remodel would have been an ideal place to do the day's chores. Artisans might be found there making tools and pottery or weaving delicate textiles. Others would grind corn into flour and gather around a cooking hearth to prepare the evening meal. Imagine constructing a home before lumber yards existed. The Hohokam gathered building materials from the surrounding landscape. A wooden frame was made from mesquite or cottonwood trees. Branches or sorrel ribs were lashed to the frame. Adobe mud formed the outer shell. The layered materials provided some insulation from temperature extremes. Most pit houses had a hearth, but no roof outlet for smoke. Hearths were probably not used for cooking, but to hold embers for winter heating. These replicas of pit houses are made from modern materials. Of course they are. Though the details of structures over 1,000 years old are unknown, the replicas are based on data from archaeological excavations and from the Hohokam, who are believed to be related to the Hohokam. What's different? Due to today's building codes, the replicas are taller than ancient structures. Pit houses had a low entryway with a small door, probably for security. The replicas entered through a cutaway, allowing access for all. So these replica pit houses are built to code. Modern building code. Oh, God, that's ridiculous. Can't build them to actual size because that would be a violation of Phoenix City building code. Oh, shit like that just blows my mind. All right, what kind of goodie we got over here? I'm gonna look at the plaque before I wander through the structure. I'm not so damn clueless wandering through the structure. Hohokam suburbs. All right, yeah. So this has been a big sprawl of suburbia for since AD 1300. Adobe compound replica. Hohokam adobe homes are surrounded by walls like many of today's suburban houses. Built from AD 1150 to 1450, adobe compounds at Pueblo Grande contained up to 17 rooms, probably shared by extended family groups. Indoor spaces in the desert can be hot, shady. Ramadas provided a place for sharing daily tasks or caring for children. Potters, toolmakers, and weavers probably worked there or on area rooftops. Meals were prepared outdoors as well in shared cooking beds. Adobe homes used much less wood than earlier wood frame pit houses. Trees may have been increasingly scarce to the Hohokam. Perhaps one reason adobe compounds became a more common type of home. Hard subsoil deposit called caliche was mixed with earth and water to make adobe mud. Walls were built up in layers, sometimes on stone foundations. Rooms had wooden roof structures and floors smooth with a coat of light-colored, durable caliche plaster. The adobe compound replica, made with modern materials, is a representation of adobe Hohokam homes. The details of structures built 700 years ago are unknown. This replica is based on archaeological and historic information of the culture of the Southwest. What's different? One notable difference due to today's building codes is the rooms and doorways of the replica are taller than the ancient ones were. Oh, so lame they couldn't just build them to scale of what they know the ancient ones are. Like, why does building code have to go to something like this? Silliness. I kind of like this though. I like this a lot. That's cool. Weaving loom going on there. Canteen for water. Cotton. I get the feeling that's an electrical fixture there for modern building codes. Yeah, definitely standing on cement. Yeah, that one's got a steel door on it. Guaranteed the original ones that have steel doors. It's kind of fascinating to think that there's actually been, like, that this part of town was an ancient civilization so many hundreds of years ago. In fact, over 1,000 years ago. It's kind of fascinating. I'm enjoying this path. This is one of those that I've looked at from above and never actually had access to. Now, if you remember my video that I did where I found a random path that connected... Oh, never mind. I was going to say the random path that connected at 52nd Street, but actually I'm not near that. Never mind. I'm on a different freeway. I was going to say that's the path on the other side, but that's not. It's over here at Castle. And what we got over here? Desert Oasis. Why would the Hohokam settle in the hot, dry desert? When the Hohokam settled here, the Salt River ran year-round. I want to believe that's common knowledge, but maybe it's not. I mean, it's certainly been dry my entire lifetime, but that's because it's dammed up to form Roosevelt Lake, and that's how we have water. Salt River ran year-round. We've had the largest system of canals in prehistoric America. The river dried up only after the addition of modern-day dams. In stark contrast to the dry desert, lush canal and riverbanks were lined with water-loving plants. This riparian area resources provided the Hohokam with food, fibers for weaving, and wood for fuel and construction. Hunters also found a variety of animals and lush vegetation. Those resources were vital supplement to the Hohokam agriculture and desert harvests. Eating rabbit. I get so many urban bunnies in my videos. Sometimes they're hard to see. Canal you see here, the old Crosscut Canal. Now that's interesting. That's the old Crosscut Canal, because I have so many videos where I'm walking on the old Crosscut Canal, Greenbelt Park, and this would actually be the canal that runs underneath it. So this water is actually running from my neighborhood underneath the park. I was pretty sure there was still a canal, but it was buried. Anyway, that's fascinating. Canal you see here, Old Crosscut Canal, was first built in 1888 and runs most of the year. It only hints at what Hohokam riparian areas might have been like. Cattail grows in this canal as it would have in ancient canals. Willow and cottonwood are also abundant. Riparian area wildlife important to the Hohokam included fish, mollusks, water birds, beavers, and turtles. Oh, no mention of bunnies. Certain times of the year, this canal is drained for cleaning and maintenance. Hohokam canals would have required similar cleaning. Low water levels during canal maintenance offered the Hohokam opportunity to catch fish by hand or in nets or baskets. And there's ducks down there. They look like they're chilling. Yeah, my not so steady hand doesn't make this footage good at all, but anyway, kind of see the ducks chilling in the water. Oh, come on, zoom out. Thank you. So I had a couple awkward moments when I came in. So what happened with my phone was, actually I had over 8 gigs of space left, but I hit the bug that I'm always talking about, where it says I'm out of space when I'm not out of space, which of course required a reboot to get around. And by the time I was rebooted, I was down to 2% on power, so I've got my battery pack charging up my phone, my iPhone in my pocket. But this one's got a full battery, and I believe I've solved the issue that was stopping me from you know, that caused it to take literal days to I forget what time I finally managed to get it over to this phone, but the video that I shot for when I had a karaoke bar on Sunday night, it took literally days to get that moved over, mostly due to dysfunctions with Google Drive, which, if you look at Google's responses in the Google Play Store, people saying, hey, this isn't working, they're clearly oblivious that the problem is on their side, because they're just telling everybody, hey, have you tried another network? Have you tried another network? It's like, my home Wi-Fi works for everything else, you idiots. And how many people honestly have another network to connect to? It amazes me how people in tech companies can be so disconnected from reality. Oh, before supermarkets, harvesting the desert. I'm not going to read this whole one, but yeah, there are desert plants that are edible. And that's all I got to say on that subject. This looks like where I came in, so I'm not going to backtrack that way. So here's some of the Pueblo ruin that's behind this wall here, so obviously I don't want people walking on it. But I don't know how old those walls are. I'd be willing to say around 1,000 years. Some of it has been excavated. Oh, it looks like there's a path to go up on top of it, so I might have to keep heading that way. Anyway, so after I rebooted my phone, plugged the charger in it, and realized I didn't have enough power to shoot any kind of videos. Standing underneath, get on the video here, standing underneath that building, I think that building, and it had some information on it regarding basically mask policies and whatnot, because some people are still pretending that the pandemic's a big deal. And And it didn't really say what the building was for. I just figured it was kind of part of the museum, so I popped in and see if there were any exhibits there. And it was a large meeting room, and there was some kind of big meeting going on. And they all kind of looked at me like, "Can we help you?" That was awkward. I'm like, "Whoops." Just did an about face. And I'd seen a park ranger, or maybe a Phoenix officer, I'm not sure, that passed me and said hi. She saw me, looking at my phone, trying to get, the battery pack on my phone, and I saw her pop out again. And then I walked into the museum, and there's a charge for admission, and I don't have any money to spend on that right now, so. But I'm glad this pathway is free. This is nice. Honestly, this is of more interest to me than anything that's inside that museum. Hohokam Worldview. Visitors to this ancestral place pass through a world of souls and spirits. Historically, the Hohokam placed a pile of stones on top of this Ve'aki, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, platform mound. The shrine acknowledged the spiritual power of the Sivon, the spiritual leader or leaders who had once lived here. The Hohokam believe that people and animals coexist in the, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, the natural world. There's the word I can't pronounce. The natural world, which is sandwiched between something else I can't pronounce, the sky above, and some other foreign word, the world below. From beyond the eastern horizon, the sun, the moon, travel from the home of the deceased ancestors to the western sunset, where the ocean is a place of pilgrimage and salt gathering. As you ascend the platform mound, you enter a place above. Here the landscape offers views of sacred mountains in every direction. Where prayers continue to cross from this world, the Hohokam world of spirits. And I do believe the Hohokam reservation, that would be the one that's just south of Chandler, where the casino, there's a big casino there, of course. Actually, that's where I saw, oh gosh, country artist I've been into since I was a kid. Ronnie Millsap. Saw Ronnie Millsap there. My, I believe, 49th birthday. Pueblo Grande Mound. It's the northeast corner of the Pueblo Grande platform mound. The actual shape and height of the mound is very apparent here. It was quite large, 150 feet by 300 feet, or about the size of a football field, with rooms on top of it. The total height is around 25 feet. The mound contains at least 720,000 cubic feet of fill, including the remains of rooms that were successively demolished and rebuilt. In this corner retaining wall, you can see river cobbles, chunks of hardened caliche and granite, and sandstone blocks set in mortar. The use of the stone in the mound's walls is unusual, if not unique to Pueblo Grande. In the distance, you can see rooms built adjacent to the mound and portions of the rectangular compound wall that surrounded the mound. The Pueblo Grande platform mound is one of the largest of more than 50 such mounds known in Arizona. Nearly half of them are in the Salt River Valley. Interestingly, mounds are located at regular intervals, approximately every 3 miles, along major prehistoric irrigation canals. Now, that's interesting. I didn't know that. And yeah, that wall is been excavated really well. It's very clear. And I guess this is the path to take me up on top of the mound. Kind of bewildered that I've been in Phoenix for so long and I've never ever wandered here. I tend to wander around these sorts of things when I'm filling time by myself. Anyway, so yeah, I walked into the museum and realized that it had an admission cost and just got super awkward, got it in about face and walked out. So, yeah, I don't even know what the cost of admission is, but I don't have any extra money to be spending on anything other than basic sustenance right now. Super curious if this was just like layers of rooms and this has just been filled. Saving the mound. Now standing near the center of the platform mound. Originally the mound may have been 2 smaller mounds that eventually merged here as each grew through time to create a single large structure. Archaeologists excavated most of the southern portion of the mound in the 1930s. The northern part of the mound has only been partially excavated and will remain protected for future researchers. If y'all can see that. view's pretty cool. A freight train going by. And over there, that's the Sky Train. There's the airport and the Sky Harbor Airport. That's the Broadway Curve Butte. I don't know what the proper name of that butte is, but it's there by the Broadway Curve. There's a hotel up on it. Sheraton, I believe. There's Pavico Park off in that direction, and Camelback Mountain off in that direction. It's actually pretty impressive that they've managed to protect this site from development, because this really would be prime development space as far as location, real estate, you know, what have you. So I'm really glad that there's someone was able to step in and say, oh, this is something ancient that needs to be preserved, and hopefully greed doesn't change that. Oh, what you can't see, I'll see those pictures. That's kind of neat. This kind of shows a map where this whole little community went between 44th Street and 48th Street, all the way north of Van Buren. And just as a matter of perspective, that's where the soggy bus stop is that I'm always complaining about. It's super moist because they water the hell out of it. Big house, possible configuration cutaway view. Wow, that's just wild to see, like, multi-level structures. I mean, I guess I've seen some evidence of ruins, but... And just think, they managed to build those without any building inspectors or building codes. Imagine that. The Pueblo Grande site once stretched nearly a mile to the north. The village included a community center, platform mound, and residential suburbs. Pretty fascinating. Oh, I need to find me a restroom, and I got a feeling there's not going to be any that don't involve going into the museum building, which I already made an awkward appearance at. Some more interesting ruins. Those are a lot more visible from up here than they were from down below. A mysterious maze. An adobe wall 3 feet thick and up to 8 feet high completely surrounded the platform mound. The wall was constructed of wet mud and caliche built up course upon course without forms. This method contrasts sharply with dried mud brick construction, the more common technique of adobe construction used elsewhere in the world. Before it was a portion of that wall and a block of rooms within the mound compound. Restricted entryways and layout of the rooms appear to be a purposeful maze. The open courtyards of the rooms within this compound contain interesting features: kitchens with large cooking pits and windscreens, caches of obsidian modules and shell and stone beads, piles of stone axes, quartz crystals, minerals, and pottery from the Hopi Indian area 200 miles north. The maze of rooms with fascinating artifacts led to speculation. Could this have been where feasts were prepared and secret activities carried out? We can almost see costumed people striding hurriedly through narrow corridors, climbing down ladders into rooms intending to sacred rituals. And of course, just an artist's interpretation of what the activity would have been like. But yeah, you can definitely see evidence of the maze-like structures, which of course haven't been completely dug out. And that's the building I awkwardly went into, and no idea what kind of meeting was going on in there. Oh. 24 minutes into this. Just got to remember, this phone cuts off at 33 minutes. A lot better than the 10 minutes of the Obama phone. But still awkward. Bums me out that whatever I was talking about, I know I was talking about whatever Alice and I were doing in Vegas when this phone cut that video out as I was walking around Portland. That's interesting. As I was walking around, wow, room's all dug out. Growth and change. This must Must have been quite the community 800, 900 years ago. Special rooms. Please stay on the trail. Yeah, don't let your offspring climb on this. Artifacts discovered in these 2 rooms hint that the rooms were put to some special uses. In the front room were found curved shell and wood, an axe, red and purple pigments, an animal effigy, a ceramic jar, ola, and other artifacts. Found in the fill of the back room was an antler, worked shell and bone, 2 arrow points made from ceramic fragments, and a piece of cotton wrapped around a chunk of earth. A black zigzag pattern was painted on the doorway, a smaller room to the west. Note that the doorway between the front and back rooms was blocked off. Could this indicate changes in the relationships of the people who lived in the rooms, or changes in these rooms? Oh yeah, I can kind of see that there. Yeah, interesting. Like a hint of a doorway that's been blocked off. Yeah, people do that with their houses all the time. And other buildings. Oh. Sky gazing. Sky's kind of neat from here. Of course, I'm sure it was a much better view before that freeway was built. Which pretty sure that's the 143 freeway. Which interestingly enough is called used to be called the Hohokam Expressway. I suppose it still technically is, but nobody really calls it that. Everybody simply just calls it the 143. I remember when it was first built, it didn't have a number designation. It was just simply called the Hohokam Expressway. And it was kind of an added northbound extension to 48th Street. Kind of want to just walk that way, but it's a nice path and they're asking me to stay on it, so I'm gonna stay on it. Whatever that growth is I got going on in the back of my throat, it still very much is bothering me. According to the automation with the DES phone number, it says I've been approved for medical, so I'm just going to go to the urgent care, have them take a look at that and see if it's cause for alarm. I don't feel like it's killing me, but boy, every now and then I start kind of choking or gagging on it. And I don't know, it's moments like this I'm reminded that I'm a DJ, not a doctor. And medical related stuff I tend to be kind of ignorant about. My daughter told me, she's like, oh yeah, I had that, it's just a cold. Yeah, I've had a cold before. It's not a symptom I've ever had as part of a cold. In fact, I don't recall honestly ever having this problem, so kind of freaked out by it. And we got another placard here. What's this one say? O'Adam Va'akai. This platform mound has another name, meaning ceremonial house in the O'odham language. Alright. Kind of more of the same over on this side, but it is wild seeing those walls and thinking just how ancient they are. Of course, this kind of pales in comparison to some of the ancient buildings that are still up and standing in places like Rome and other European cities, but hey, it's what we got in Arizona. Civilization in Arizona wasn't quite the same thing 1,000 years ago as it was in Europe 1,000 years ago. But there was most definitely a civilization here, and many of the descendants of the people that were here 1,000 years ago are still very much here, and many of them are close friends. So it's kind of neat that this history is being preserved. Another placard about irrigation in the desert. You can see where they changed the name on the placard to say Pistawa. Oh, I'm blocking the damn thing. There we go. Say Pistawa Peak. You can see where its packing is not as faded. That's Squaw Peak, y'all. All right. Please stay on the trail. Oh my God. Yeah, I hate to think some people think it's fun to climb on that shit. Those are ancient ruins. Just being exposed to the weather is rough enough for them. I'm coming on the backside of the museum. Oh, so let me see what time it is. It's 2:23 p.m. Oh, wow. I just realized what I did. I didn't know I could do that to see the time. I just kind of did it out of habit of doing it with my iPhone. So 2:23 p.m. I have plenty of time to get to the oh wow, I can't get, there's a gate. I can't get out without going through the museum. Hopefully they don't hit me up for money, because I don't really have any. Oh, and there's a thing I was showing inside that first building I went into. Showing how the stones were used to grind corn. And I've actually used some authentic ones of those. That was kind of a thing I did in school, as we here in Arizona. It was part of going to elementary school here, as you kind of learn about the civilizations that were here before, and some of the tools and stuff they used, and got to even try using them and stuff. It was certainly one of the more fun things. One of the more fun things that I remember doing in grade school here in Phoenix. American Society of Civil Engineers Historic Civil Works Project. Hohokam Irrigation Canal System. Constructed 600 AD to 1450 AD. Park of Four Waters. Dedicated 92. Some great ancient house. That looks pretty identical to the placard. Actually, I didn't put that on this video. I just did that on a snap. What's in a name? I know that symbol that's used on a lot of the freeways and a lot of the canals. Anything that's Hohokam Nation, but it's also on some of the Salt River reservations, freeways as well. I get it in the video? Yeah, that symbol. Well, I'm going to stop this before we go inside the museum. Hope you all found this a little more interesting than my average rambling and walking around Phoenix streets. Sometimes I forget that there are things like this just right in my own neighborhood, more or less.